Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. This is going to be probably a quick video. I say that, but maybe I'll go into a rant and it'll be a long one. But anyway, it's only been a little more than 24 hours since Naoya Inoue destroyed Stephen Fulton and became a 4-division champion. And already we've got people saying, "Oh, Inoue's overrated. He's crap. He's, what are you talking about? He's not great. He's not that good. You're just bestowing greatness onto someone who's, only 30 years old, still got his career to go." Now, listen, the point about not judging someone until their career is over is one that I normally go along with, but there are exceptions, and Inoue, it seems to me, has already proved himself. If he retired tomorrow, he'd be a Hall of Famer, clearly. And it seems to me that he has proven himself to be a great fighter if he never throws another punch. And people, okay, I understand that you can be critical of too much hyperbole or too much, maybe people go in at the deep end, and so now we've got people saying that Fulton was no great shakes, and that I always knew Inoue would wipe the floor with him, and so on and so forth. Look, constructive criticism is something that we should all be party to. We should, and okay, if you're going to say that someone is a Hall of Famer, you hold them to an absolutely very, very high standard. Although there are some people, in my opinion, who are in the Hall of Fame who were not necessarily great fighters. They were very good fighters, but not necessarily great. But there are people, unfortunately, in the world, and we live in very strange times. I think we accept this. We know this. We live in strange times where up is down, black is white, blue is green, and bears don't defecate in the woods. Very, very odd times we live in. But there are, nevertheless, some people who are just plain dumber than dog shit, and they will, I don't know whether they think they're being clever, or whether they're genuinely that stupid, or whether they just they think it's great fun to be a sort of permanent troll, or, these are not very bright people. And if you honestly think that Inoue is anything other than an extremely good fighter, someone who's proven himself, to be honest, you don't know shit about boxing, and you're not really a boxing fan. What more would Inoue, at the age of 30, having done what he's done, what more would he have to do to convince you? Admittedly, okay, his career is not over. I accept that. If you were to hold a gun to my head and say, what's the closest you've ever seen to an unbeatable fighter? In my lifetime, I would say Mike Tyson. When he lost to Buster Douglas, as I've said before many times, I just cannot begin to put into words how shocking that was. It was just the most extraordinary thing. The other one is, and probably more so than Tyson, was Roy Jones Jr. in the 90s, who just seemed to me to be as near as damn it unbeatable as you can possibly get, and yet he ended up with 10 defeats on his record. So I accept that Inoue's career is not over, and we should perhaps reserve judgment until it is over, maybe full judgment. But nevertheless, you know what, as boxing fans, when you get an Inoue who just tears through the divisions, tears through opponents, destroying them, we're boxing fans, and isn't it great to have someone like that? Especially when you consider the fact that you've got a guy, Fury, who's the heavyweight champion, one of the heavyweight champions of the world, who thinks it's okay to go fight Francis Ngannou and duck Alexander Usyk. In other words, duck the unification, the undisputed title, in order to go away and make a shit ton of money on, fighting what is little more than an exhibition, even though it will actually go on his record as a legitimate fight, which is a disgrace in itself. But there's much that's disgraceful about Tyson Fury. And then you've got an Inoue who's the sort of polar opposite, who just takes on anyone. So all this business about, well, he's overrated, he's this, he's that, he's the... Okay, if you want to pretend to be a smart ass, if you want to pretend to be someone who is, I don't know, better than everyone else, maybe that's what it is, maybe it's an ego thing, then go ahead and do it. But to me as a boxing fan, and I have no extra. I'm not a fanboy of any specific. Obviously, I like certain fighters. I admire certain fighters, but I admire them for that reason. They're fighters. There's nothing cultish about it for me. And Inoue is one of them. I don't know anything about Inoue's private life. I don't know anything about him as anything other than a boxer. I admire him greatly because he gets in the ring and does what he purports to be, which is a monster. You know, he takes on people. He doesn't duck anyone. I think he's a truly great fighter, and I think if he didn't, as I said before, if he doesn't throw another punch, he's definitely someone who, in my lifetime, I would regard as, possibly a top 10 fighter. I mean, when I think of the great fighters of my lifetime, would he make the top 10? I'd have to have a think about that, but the fact that I'm considering putting him in the top 10 says it all, and he's still got weight divisions to go. I did a video earlier today about his possibly, going up to featherweight and winning titles, and maybe even super featherweight. I don't see that as a foregone conclusion. I don't see that as something that's it's not a foregone conclusion, but I don't see that as being something that's unreasonable or outlandish or But I just think it's tedious when people think they're being so clever by going against the grain with no rhyme or reason. I can understand people being objective. I can understand people saying, well, hold on, let's put the brakes on a little bit here. Fine, that's fine, no problem with that. But when people just start, making absurd claims about someone who has proven himself, if you said to me, well, I think we're overreacting a little bit, I'd go, okay, fair enough. Tell me why you think that. I would listen to you. But when people say, oh, Inoue's, it's all hype. It's all hype. That's the word they use, hype. What can I tell you? These are probably the people who it doesn't matter what you say about Tyson Fury and criticise him, they won't hear a word of it. Be like, no, Fury's great. Oh, no, what are you talking about? But I've had people leaving comments slagging me off. Like, they don't talk about, why they think my arguments against Fury are legitimate. They just want to slag me off. It's fucking funny, and I don't know. Maybe they say the geeks will inherit the earth. Maybe it's the dumb people that will inherit the earth, or maybe they've already done so. I'm beginning to wonder. Anyway, all I can say about the modern world is thank God I'm closer to retirement than I am to the start of my working life, because Jesus Christ, I can't wait to get out of it all. It's a funny old world. But anyway, I just thought I'd make this video. What do you think of Inoue? Do you think he is overrated? Maybe you do. Give me a legitimate reason if you think he's overrated. Maybe you think that... Maybe you think we should put the brakes on. Hey, he's a good fighter, but let's put the brakes on. I get it. Okay, I'll listen to that argument as well. Or maybe you're some cretin who just thinks, he's all hype. I like Fury. I'm going to pay-per-view for Ngannou Fury. Do you want a bit of dueling banjos? Alright. I suppose I should be out of here by now. I've started to, go a bit stupid. Anyway, leave your comments below. You know the drill. Come on, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Subscribe, please, subscribe. Let's build up Joe Stunner Boxing. Let's get to 2,000 anyway. And yeah, like the video as well while you're at it. Go on, hit that like button. You know you want to. Come on. Leave your comments below. Go on. Be a devil.